How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. This is from 2006, and I initially found out about this movie because I was browsing the Wikipedia page for After Dark films. They obviously are the makers of the After Dark Horror Fest. I'm a fan of them and wanted to check out all their movies even outside of the Horror Fest, and it listed this as one of the films they made. However, looking on the back, I don't see any reference to them. I think maybe Xenon Pictures was them before they changed their name? I don't know. If you guys know why this was on the Wikipedia list, definitely tell me in the comments. But anyway, that's all beside the point. The movie itself, this was directed by Stacy Title and stars, well, as you can probably guess from the title, Snoop Dogg as the host of this movie. It's an anthology film, so he's the host connecting all the segments together. But we have a wide range of guest stars here. We get Danny Trejo, Dee Williams, Ernie Hudson, Lin Shaye, Aries, and Jason Alexander. Quite a bit of fun names in this movie. That's always really cool. Overall, though, this movie is just okay. It does have a few cool ideas and a few things going for it. And I can say, oh yeah, that funny death was cool, and oh, that's kind of a cool story idea. But looking back at the stories themselves, the first one's okay, the second one's pretty bad, and the third one's good but kind of forgettable. So it's okay, you know. There is a little bit of that creep show humor, a little bit of that, you know, hey, we're just a horror movie having fun, and also all the stars do really, you know, bring their A game and can, you know, lend some fun to the stories, you know. So there is a bit to like in here, but it was definitely one that I was going through the stories and I'm like, that doesn't quite work, that doesn't quite make sense, oh, is this all we're doing with that concept? There's just a few bits that definitely could be better, and I think the best way in order to analyze this is to go through and talk about all the stories. I won't be doing any major spoilers, but I will be doing a bit of a breakdown and analysis and talking about each one. But I don't have to spoil the ending to do that. So let's talk about the host segment. We open up with a cartoon version of Snoop Dogg, and we find out that this character's backstory is that he was a gangster, and one of his stray bullets accidentally killed his younger sister, and he makes a deal with this demon in order to bring his sister back to life, but he has to kill himself and then work for him collecting souls of strange, like, people that died in, like, horrific ways or something. So he's your host character. We do actually get real-life Snoop Dogg, which I think would have been enough, and I kind of wonder if this cartoon was an afterthought to give the movie more pop. I'm not the biggest fan of this cartoon. It's overly stylized and just looks a little strange, and it also goes on for a little bit too long. Like, I get the point. We're still doing this, we're still here, and the cartoon's okay. I like the effort, but the final product, it could have been better. But anyway, we get to the first story, and the first story is called Crossed Out, and we get this girl, and her parents died in a murder-suicide, and now she hates gangsters. How the gangsters are connected to the murder-suicide? I don't know. They must have been, though, because she hates them. And she's this girl with a bit of attitude. She'll get in your face, and she'll do her graffiti, and, you know, she's an interesting enough character. She sticks up for herself. That's pretty good. Well, one day, Danny Trejo kidnaps her, and he gives her a tattoo on her hand, a sort of skeleton hand over her hand, and she finds that she can use the hand to cross out people's tags in their graffiti, and this will make them die in a Final Destination-esque way. And I think the best kill in this one is there's this guy and he's drinking his alcohol. He's recently run from the police, and when he hears a siren, he goes to run again, but slips on a puddle of his own alcohol, and when he falls, the bottle goes into his head and goes all the way through it, and it punches out the back of his head, and alcohol and blood and brains just shoot out in this horrific fountain. It's silly, but it's kind of goofy, almost Creepshow-esque fun. But the thing is, that's the best one. Like, the one that comes after it with this phone booth is kind of a lame kill. And, like Final Destination, they did give it more time and it had more suspense behind it. The one with the alcohol was fun enough. It's okay, but it definitely is a case of it could have been better, but it's fine. The thing that really does kill this short, though, is you start off with this girl, and she's this spunky girl fighting for her life against these gangsters. And then it just decides to aggressively judge her at the end of the short, going, "Why did you kill those people? You shouldn't have done that." Never mind that these people she's killing are like robbers, and they assault people, and they kill people. Like these are legitimately bad dudes that she had a problem with, and now she can solve it. And the short randomly goes, "You're bad for doing that. You could have used the power for good." Never mind that we never actually showed that the power could be used for good, but apparently it could have been. And yeah, the ending just kind of kills the momentum of this short. Maybe if she had been really, really good and altruistic at the beginning, and she got evil at the end, if you showed her crossing the line better. But as it stands, it just feels like a tacked-on ending because that's the ending we were supposed to do, right? It kills it. It's a decent idea. The idea that you have this powerful tattoo and you can mess with graffiti and that would do Final Destination. It didn't pan out super great, but as it stands, it's okay. And significantly better than the next one. The next one, The Scumlord, is terrible. And the first time I tried to watch this movie, I turned it off after just a few minutes of this segment because I couldn't take it. It's bad humor at its worst. So we get this guy. His name is Tex Jr., and he's an offensive Texas stereotype. Woohoo! And in the movie, we'll think he's hilarious, and he's not. But basically, he killed his father for his money, and if he finds out in the will that he has to spend a year with his father's Vietnam vet friends in order to actually get the inheritance, so he moves in with them, and then we get hilarious elder abuse. Like, I get he's supposed to be a jerk, and a jerk getting his comeuppance is an anthology horror staple. But how long do we need to see this for? Like, you know, he randomly decides these people all owe him money and forces them to work, and he doesn't give them enough food and they're literally starving to death, and he'll take one of their rooms. Which, okay, I kind of get that because he does need a place to sleep. That should have been thought out by his father beforehand. They should have had a room ready for him. But anyway, example after example of this guy being a jerk, and we're like, I get it. It's supposed to be funny, but I don't think a jerk being mean to these old men for like the entirety of this segment, I don't think it's super humorous. It's just flat out annoying, and I'm just waiting for that comedic justice, which when it gets here is okay. Mild spoiler, the guy has a girlfriend that's a blonde stereotype, and she'll have a little yippy dog. By the way, he smacks his girlfriend on the butt all the time with the same sound effect, and it's supposed to be funny, but it's just tedious. Anyway, the mild spoiler, the little yippy dog gets the karmic revenge too. The dog dies. No, that dog is innocent. animal abuse in a horror movie, when it's to show that things are horrific, like when the ghost kills the dog, it's saying that's a bad thing, the ghost is scary and dangerous. But when you kill a dog for humor, that is not good. This short sucks. This honestly is a terrible short, and the sooner it's over, the better. The one good redeeming thing in here is Ernie Hudson. Him and the vets, they do a good job bringing some heart to this otherwise heartless short. Ernie Hudson is giving a good performance, and that is like the only good thing in here, so props to you, Ernie, for trying to keep this short up in the air. You were doing your best here. The last one, Rapsody Askew. Interesting enough, not super memorable, but let's talk about it. We get this guy, he's praying in church, he wants to have a rap career, and afterwards his prayers are answered because he meets this other guy, and the two sort of click and they go off to start their musical career. Well, we cut to the future, the other guy is dead, and he's this rich, successful rap star, but he's also a huge jerk who's done some pretty terrible things. Well, he goes to his dressing room, the party disappears, and all of a sudden it's Lin Shaye there, and Lin Shaye says, "Hey, you told God you were gonna be good if you were successful. Do you really think you've been good?" And she goes to the TV and starts playing highlights of his life. It's sort of like A Christmas Carol, but just the past segments. It's an interesting enough concept, but to be honest, it's kind of a little familiar, you know? We can see because the friend isn't there, we know there's going to be something tragic that happens, and we know just because we saw the past and now we saw the future, that he's gonna get progressively worse and worse. There's no real surprises here. I mean, there's a few plot twists, but they're nothing revolutionary. The biggest surprise is that when we see Jason Alexander, George from Seinfeld, he has a very bad Australian accent for some reason. Oh my gosh, it was terrible, but whatever. I did like the ghost messing with him. That was kind of cool. The idea that the whole party would disappear, and then the door disappears, and Lin Shaye's doing this really good performance. I recently saw her again in the movie Dead End. She does a really good job of being a good actor, but a bit of a wacky side behind her, you know, a little bit unhinged at times, and Lin Shaye in here is pretty cool. So overall, this short's fine. It has a pretty decent little ending at the end. It's just, I was checking my notes a few times and I had to be like, what happened in Rapsody Askew again? It's kind of a little bit overly familiar and in turn, a little hard to remember. I think the Christmas Carol thing is a fun idea. I just wish we had something more interesting going on. I don't know. Anyway, out of the three segments, Crossed Out, fun enough, ending kind of killed it. Scumlord, absolutely terrible. And Rapsody Askew, a good little idea that it's okay, I guess. So overall, I mean, there are some fun moments. There are some good ideas. There is a bit of gore and creepshow-esque humor, but it never really hits it off. It never really goes crazy. I mean, it is cool to see Snoop Dogg hosting a horror anthology. And I mean, I don't want to say it doesn't have its moments, but I don't know how long I'm going to be thinking about this. And it's a B-side, let's say that. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be, how about my Anthology Horror playlist, where you can see me review other Anthology Horror movies. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.